The RMS Titanic was a marvel of engineering, a true testament to human ingenuity and ambition. At the time of its construction, it was the largest ship ever built, a floating city on the sea. The Titanic stretched over 882 feet long, an impressive feat of design and construction. To put that into perspective, imagine 3 football fields placed end to end. That's the sheer length of this colossal vessel. In terms of height, it stood as tall as a 17-story building, towering over everything in its path. The Titanic was not just about size, it was designed for luxury and comfort, catering to the elite of society. It boasted opulent dining rooms, grand staircases, and even a swimming pool, features that were unheard of at the time. Passengers could enjoy a variety of amenities, including a library, a fully equipped gymnasium, and even a Turkish bath, providing a level of comfort and luxury that was unparalleled. The ship was often referred to as a floating palace, a fitting description for its lavish interiors and state-of-the-art facilities. It offered every comfort and indulgence imaginable, from fine dining to luxurious cabins, ensuring that passengers traveled in the utmost style. As the Titanic set off on her maiden voyage, she dwarfed the crowds gathered to see her off, a majestic sight that captured the imagination of all who witnessed it. The Titanic represented the pinnacle of Edwardian opulence, a symbol of the era's technological advancements and societal aspirations. It was a symbol of human ambition and technological achievement, showcasing what mankind could accomplish with determination and innovation. However, despite all its grandeur and technological prowess, the fate of the Titanic would serve as a stark reminder of the power of nature. A humbling lesson that no matter how advanced we become, we are still at the mercy of the natural world. On April 10, 1912, the Titanic embarked on its maiden voyage. It sailed from Southampton, England with great fanfare. The ship was bound for New York City, carrying over 2,200 passengers and crew. The first stop was Cherbourg, France. Here, more passengers boarded, eager to experience the grandeur of the Titanic. The ship then sailed to Queenstown, Ireland, its final port of call before crossing the Atlantic. The Titanic's intended journey across the Atlantic. Excitement filled the air as the Titanic steamed westward. Passengers marveled at the ship's size and splendor. Little did they know that tragedy lay ahead. On the night of April 14, 1912, the Titanic sailed through the icy waters of the North Atlantic. The ship, deemed unsinkable, was on its maiden voyage from Southampton to New York City, carrying over 2,000 passengers and crew. The sea was calm, but the air was bitterly cold. The stars shone brightly in the clear night sky, casting an eerie glow over the vast dark ocean. Despite numerous warnings of icebergs in the area, the Titanic maintained a high speed, eager to make a record-breaking crossing. At 11:40 p.m., lookouts Frederick Fleet and Reginald Lee spotted an iceberg directly in the ship's path. They immediately rang the warning bell and telephoned the bridge. The alarm was raised, and the engines were reversed. First Officer William Murdoch ordered the ship to turn hard to starboard. However, it was too late. The massive ship could not turn quickly enough to avoid the iceberg. The Titanic grazed the iceberg along its starboard side, sending a shudder through the ship. The moment of impact, the Titanic collides with the iceberg. The sound of the collision was muffled, but the damage was catastrophic. The impact felt slight to many on board, with some passengers barely noticing the collision. But beneath the surface, the iceberg had ripped open several compartments in the ship's hull. Water began pouring in at an alarming rate, flooding the lower decks. The unsinkable Titanic was taking on water rapidly. Panic began to spread as the crew and passengers realized the severity of the situation. The ship's fate was sealed, and the night would end in tragedy. The Titanic's hull was divided into 16 compartments. It was designed to stay afloat even if several compartments flooded. However, the damage from the iceberg was too extensive. Watertight doors sealed off some sections, but it wasn't enough. The crew quickly realized the gravity of the situation. The Titanic was sinking. The order to uncover the lifeboats was given. Panic began to spread among the passengers as the reality set in. The Titanic's fatal flaw: watertight compartments breached by the iceberg. Distress rockets soared into the night sky, desperate pleas for help. The Titanic's wireless operators sent out frantic Morse code messages. They hoped another ship was close enough to respond. The Titanic's lifeboats were designed to carry just over half of the passengers and crew. There was a critical shortage of lifeboats. The situation was made worse by the chaos and confusion on deck. Women and children were given priority for the lifeboats. Many families faced heartbreaking decisions as the lifeboats filled and were lowered into the icy water. As the Titanic continued to sink, the angle of the deck increased. This made it increasingly difficult to launch the remaining lifeboats. Passengers and crew clung desperately to the railing as the ship slipped lower into the ocean. The unsinkable ship sinks. At 2:20 a.m. the Titanic broke apart. The bow section sank first, plunging beneath the waves. It left the stern section briefly afloat. The stern rose high into the air before it too disappeared beneath the surface. The sinking of the Titanic sent shockwaves around the world. This seemingly invincible ship, a symbol of human progress, had succumbed to the forces of nature. The disaster highlighted the need for improved safety regulations at sea. It also revealed acts of both courage and selflessness among the passengers and crew. As dawn broke, the RMS Carpathia arrived at the site of the disaster. It had received the Titanic's distress calls and steamed through the night to offer assistance. The Carpathia's crew found a scene of utter devastation. Debris from the Titanic littered the ocean surface. Lifeboats bobbed precariously, filled with traumatized survivors. The Carpathia took on all of the Titanic survivors. They were given food, blankets, and medical attention. The ship then sailed for New York, where the world awaited news of the tragedy. The sinking of the Titanic resulted in the loss of over 1,500 lives. It remains one of the deadliest peacetime maritime disasters in history. The disaster had a profound impact on the world. It led to stricter safety regulations for ships, including requirements for more lifeboats and improved communication systems. Memorials were erected to honor the victims. The story of the Titanic became a cautionary tale. It reminded us of the fragility of life and the power of the sea. Milvina Dean was just 9 weeks old when she sailed on the Titanic with her family. She was the youngest passenger on board. Milvina, along with her mother and brother, survived the disaster. Her father, sadly, did not. Milvina Dean became the last living survivor of the Titanic. She passed away in 2009 at the age of 97. Her life spanned a century marked by one of history's most enduring tragedies. For decades, the Titanic's resting place remained a mystery. Then, in 1985, a team led by Dr. Robert Ballard finally located the wreck. It lay on the ocean floor, 2.5 miles beneath the surface. The discovery of the wreck captivated the world. It provided a haunting glimpse into the past. Remotely operated vehicles, or ROVs, captured images of the Titanic's decaying grandeur. The wreck site is now a protected maritime memorial. It serves as a reminder of the importance of preserving our maritime heritage. It also highlights the fragility of even our greatest achievements.